This video is sponsored by PotownStore.com, the best place to get yourself some TCGO code cards. Looking for that last card to complete your online deck or just to get the latest booster packs in town, they literally have everything, even the Fusion Strike stuff. So be sure to head over to the website PotownStore.com and use that coupon code ZapDoesTCG for 5% off. Also, head over to cardsmarket.com. If you're a European player, this website is fantastic. You can buy and sell cards to people all across Europe, and I personally use it every single day to get rid of cards that I don't need to buy new ones. Use the referral name ZapDoesTCG and you're helping out the channel tremendously. Last but certainly not least is yourplaymat.com. This website is fantastic when you create your own unique custom playmat. They ship worldwide, and of course right now you can get 10% off by clicking the link down below. So start creating your own unique custom playmat for the new season. So thanks for sticking with the commercials. Let's get this video on the roll. Peace. What's up YouTube, it's ZapDoesTCG here and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. On this channel you got daily Pokemon TCG content, so be sure you are subscribed if you haven't already. Today we're talking about the top 5 best decks in the current format. Fusion Strike, the latest Pokemon TCG expansion, has been out for well over a month, and today it's actually time for us to be taking a look at how the meta developed and why these are my top 5 picks for today's format. If you would be playing a tournament right now, any of these top 5 decks is a great choice. There's of course other decks out there, for instance Eternatus, we have Shadow Rider, we have other cards like mentioned Leafeon, Sylveon VMAX. A lot of decks are actually pretty good right now. Definitely even the deck like the Duraludon VMAX that we talked about last week on the channel. There's a lot of rogue decks out there as well. Think about Morpeko, think about the Galarian Moltres deck that has been performing quite well. But these are actually based on results and how good they are right now. Also, thanks to consistency wise, why they are very good. So if you guys are hyped for this video, be sure to let me know by slapping the hell out of the like button, and let's just get this adventure started. And I'm actually going to be giving you a lot of detail on how these decks were developed and why they are good. First of all is Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, probably one of the strongest cards in the format at first glance, just because we don't have Mew with of course bench barrier to protect the bench, so the bench is no longer safe. You're going to be able to of course hit weakness against Jolteon VMAX, and you're also able to get rid of threats like Houndour before they're able to evolve, which is good. Same scenario for stuff like Subtle, just G-Max Rapid Flow until your heart's content. This deck is super strong just because of that G-Max Rapid Flow targeting down 2 Pokemon for 120 damage output. There are telescopic sights in here, buffing that up to 150 to a benched V Pokemon. With Passimian, that's 180 to a benched V Pokemon. So you can be slapping 180 to do Genesect V's, for example, and then you could be using something like Medicham with Yoga Loop, and it's going to be a win condition from there on out. So against Mew VMAX, you might be like weak against Psychic, but there are win conditions. Yoga Loop gives you an additional turn, and with of course Quick Shooting by your side, you're actually going to be able to of course get the situation going. There's also Echoing Horn that could work out. Let's say use Yoga Loop, the Genesect is knocked out, you can use the Echoing Horn to do it again, do our G-Max Rapid Flow on top of Quick Shooter, and you're going to be taking your 6 prize cards that way. Tord Radcliffe has of course played this deck until perfection to prove to everybody that you can win against Mew VMAX in general. Octillery with Rapid Strike Surge is able to find your Rapid Strike energy instantly from the deck, and with stuff like the Shady Dealings from Drizzle or either Inteleon, you fetch out the Melony straightly from the deck, and you're going to be able to get back-to-back G-Max Rapid Flows, because every single time you use G-Max Rapid Flow, you discard all of your energies. There's no boss's orders in this list. Instead, you go on the escape rope method, and the escape rope is very good because you need to push the Pokemon, the V Pokemon in that instance, to the bench, so you're going to be able to hit huge damage thanks to the help of Telescopic Sight and Passimian. Scoop Up Net can actually get you out of that awkward stranded position, but you can also use escape rope to get of course a stranded Pokemon straightly to the bench and get your active Urshifu sliding it in again, because Gale Thrust also has of course, if he came from bench, slapping 150 damage. A very good deck right now. Why is it better than the Moltres variant? Well, because of the fact that Medicham can help you out against Mew VMAX, this is actually the better variant out of the bunch. It's very easy to go for back-to-back G-Max Rapid Flows with this list. And also, the Moltres list sometimes has consistency issues and does not always win against Mew VMAX. They will need the Rhine at the correct time, and because, of course, Mew actually developed into some sort of like a Meloetta donk deck, it's not preferred. It's not the preferred way, right? So this is the best version of Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, stranding here on the number 5 slot. Moving forward, we have Suicune Ludicolo standing here on the number 4 spot. Suicune Ludicolo is an interesting one because it actually has favorable matchups. Like you have 50-50 against almost everything, and it's very skill reliant. So if you play the game a lot, this is the deck for you. You need to know what you get out with Shady Dealings. Sometimes it's Shady Dealings Drizzle for an evolution instance, so you can get the Inteleon out for an other evolution, so you can fetch yourself rare candy and something else that you want. Ryan, super skillful card. If somebody got knocked out, you can accelerate an energy, a basic energy from the discard pile to one of your Pokemon and search your deck for any card. This is the perfect way to get Ludicolo up into play, and as soon as you get that Enthusiastic Dance ability going around by evolving into Ludicolo thanks to using rare candy, you're going to be able to slap 100 more damage during that turn. I reckon you're going to be able to get huge KOs with, of course, the Blizzard Rondo attack from Suicune V. Suicune V, very cool card. Being able to draw a card with a fleet-footed ability is very good for consistency purposes. And with, of course, the high amount of capture energy and level ball, you're going to be able to get an army of Sobbles and Lotats up in no time. The cool thing is that you can also search out a Fan of Waves against specific archetypes. Very good against Single Strike, but also against Mew VMAX. Echoing Horn in here as well, because that is going to force an opponent to have a full bench size when the opponent least expects it. And with Cape of Toughness, you're actually adding the HP up to 50, which means you have 260 HP with the Suicune V. Other than that, you can also sometimes use Inteleon as an attacker in specific matchup to turn the prize race in your favor, going for Suicune into the Shady Dealing Sword and Shield Inteleon attacking into another Suicune into another Suicune. Very good for prize mapping, and this is a very good deck because you're going to be able to one-hit KO VMAXs on top of quick shooting Inteleon from Chilling Reign. There's one escape rope in here, so most of the time you want your Suicune in the active position. You have Scoop Up Nest to, of course, reuse Ludicolo's ability or to reuse the Shady Dealings until your heart's content, but can also, of course, get stranded Pokemon instantly back in your hand, so you can promote Suicune once more. Very cool deck, and if you actually are able to get, of course, a Water Energy, Quick Ball, and Melony in your first opening hand, you're actually going to be golden because this is very good. Capacious Bucket also searches out 2 Water Energies from the deck out of nowhere. So very cool deck, and starting here on the number 4 spot. Moving forward, number 3 is Single Strike. Single Strike was way better before Mew actually adapted into the Meloetta build, but here we are on, of course, the 3rd place. Still a very strong deck typing-wise. You have, of course, access to the Urshifu to, of course, hit weakness against stuff like Jolteon as well as Eternatus, but also are able to one-hit KO any VMAX that might come in your path because of that G-Max 1 blow. There are 2 Crobats in here and 3 Great Balls as well as 4 Quick Balls. This actually means you don't need Battle VIP Pass. People were testing this out with Crymomatic and Battle VIP Pass, but after some testing, this actually meant that sometimes you don't have Battle VIP Pass and you clunk up your deck. This is just a straightforward consistency engine with Capture Energy, finding your Houndours, Great Ball, finding more Houndours, Quick Ball using Crobat, finding more Houndours, and as soon as you get, of course, 2 Houndoom setup, this deck goes by itself. The cool thing is that, of course, you're going to be able to one-hit KO Mew VMAX either with Umbreon V or the Umbreon VMAX. The problem is, of course, that Meloetta can be quite an annoying Pokemon. You can KO that with, of course, a Houndour. You can, of course, use that with Houndoom as well, because Meloetta only has 90 HP. Don't forget about that. That is an option right there. But the cool thing is, of course, that you do have, of course, that gusting capability of the Dark Signal on, of course, Umbreon VMAX, being able to gust up Mew before it's able to evolve, or maybe you're going to be able to knock out a Mew VMAX that is hiding on the bench. Very cool for sure. So typing wise, one of the best typings in the game, and this has been the preferred version over Gengar VMAX. People have been playing Gengar VMAX, but Gengar VMAX, of course, has a great matchup against Mew VMAX, but against other decks it actually falls a little bit short. There's the Single Strike Scroll of Scorn to actually allow, of course, to attack with only 1 energy, which is super solid. You can go for the Single Strike Roar, and out of nowhere you're going to be able to, of course, damage yourself. Of course, Houndoom gets energies into play, also puts damage into play, and that's where the scroll can actually come into fruition. We have, of course, the Tower of Darkness, having that additional consistency to draw 2 cards while discarding a Single Strike card from hand. Sometimes you don't need too many of these Urshifus, and you're going to be able to discard them thanks to the means of Tower of Darkness. With 4 research, 4 money, and 2 boss, this is probably the most consistent build of course, the Single Strike box. So starting it out here on the number 3 spot. Then the last two decks on the list, can you guess it? Here we go. Number 2 goes to Jolteon VMAX. This deck has proven itself time and time again, and the cool thing right now is that Single Strike has been falling down the wayside just a tiny bit because of how strong Mew with the Meloetta build actually is. And that means Jolteon hops a little bit further into this top 5 ranking. Jolteon VMAX, of course, with Max Thunder Rumble, slapping 100 to the active and 100 damage to one of the opponent's bench Pokemon. You can get this off only with one attachment thanks to the help of Elemental Badge. Elemental Badge is a tool card that actually lowers the attack cost of the Jolteon by 1 cardless energy. That means you can get it off with Speed Lightning energy or a basic energy in general. Speed Lightning allows you to draw 2 cards similar to the Tower of Darkness in the Single Strike deck, which is very good. And there's also, of course, this Inteleon package for some additional quick shooting, because if you quick shoot the bench, you're going to be able to, of course, use Max Thunder Rumble on the target of your choice. There's also 2 Galarian Zigzagoon in here to, of course, early game pressurize the opponent to actually get a lot of damage across the field. With Boss's Orders, you're going to be able to trap certain Pokemon, definitely because Path to the Peak is also in play. The way you win against, of course, Mew VMAX is, of course, knocking out 3 Genesects or knocking out Mew Genesect. The prize race will go that way. You can, of course, try and target down Mew VMAX by itself, but that takes you like 3 turns, and by the time you're doing that, they're using Psychic Leap to get it back in the deck. So be careful on that. Go and target down the Genesects in that matchup. There's, of course, access to Melony in combination with the Path to the Peak, which might leave the Mew VMAX player stranded with nothing to do. That's why I think the 4 Path to the Peak version of Jolteon is way better than the Beedrill build, because I've seen and noticed with the Beedrill build that the consistency is a little bit lackluster. That means sometimes you're not able to do anything at all, and it's better to just slap down first turn Path to the Peak than to rely on the Single Strike Muster to get Beedrill eventually into play, which sometimes does not even work out. Tool Scrapper can get rid of the annoying cards, for instance the Big Charms, Cape of Toughness, etc. Definitely great against stuff like the Suicune deck. You're going to be able to slap off that Cape of Toughness, and you're going to be able to one-hit KO with Suicune with, of course, the help of 1 Galarian Zigzagoon ping on the active. Very, very cool. And the thing I like here is the one-off Cheryl. If you get damage, you're going to be able to heal off all that damage instantly thanks to using Cheryl. You can actually heal off all the damage on all of your evolution Pokemon. So if you're up against a deck that likes to use quick shooting, you can also heal up your Inteleons if they got damage. So put that into your mind when playing the Cheryl card. There's, of course, the Fan of Waves, as mentioned, to slow down opponents. Pretty much helps out against Single Strike, because sometimes they only have special energy. They go for Capture Energy or the Single Strike energy, and with Fan of Waves you slow them down, get rid of their Humdauer engine, slap down Path to the Peak, and out of nowhere you can actually win that matchup. The Mew VMAX matchup is a little bit 50-50 depending on who goes first and if the opponent is able to get the Meloetta dunk or not. But this is a very solid list and definitely a great starting ground if you're a fan of the spreading mechanic and Jolteon VMAX. Last but not least, the best deck in the format. Here we have it. It is Mew VMAX. This is what a typical Mew VMAX deck looks like these days. The Turbo version has won against the Peony version, and Peony is now nowhere to be found. It is not saying that Peony builds are bad, but this is just the best way of playing Mew VMAX. Mew VMAX has everything. It has, of course, draw potential with the Fusion Strike system with Genesect. For every Fusion card you have in play, you can draw cards until you have the same amount of cards in hand and the same amount of Fusion Pokemon you have in play. You can use that for every Genesect, and with, of course, 4 copies of Battle VIP Pass, 4 copies of Cramomatic. On a coin flip, you can find any card in your deck by discarding an item card. You're going to be able to get your bench up in 1 turn instantly, and the cool thing is, if you're finding Alessa Sparkle, let's say you go second, you're going to be able to use Alessa Sparkle, get an energy onto Meloetta, get an energy onto a Mew V, and then an attachment of the turn will, of course, get you to some ridiculous damage output. If you can get 3 Fusion Energies into play on the first turn, you're going to be able to donk Pokemon with the Meloetta's Echo of the Meloetta. That's also the reason that there's 2 copies in here, and against Darkness decks, you probably want to be going second so you can get that first turn KO and, of course, get yourself ahead in the prize race. This deck literally has it all. You can heal off Inteleon ping damage with Crystal Caves if they happen to attack your Genesects. There's Old Cemetery and Training Court. They opted to go for 2 training cores because sometimes this deck runs a little bit low on energies. You have Vitality Band, not only good for the mirror match, which means you only need 3 power tablets in order to one-hit KO a Mew VMAX, but could also help Meloetta get some crazy numbers. Sometimes you can get to that 220 to knock out something like a Zacian that is only in the active position. Also, the Vitality Band helps you out with numbers against other matchups, definitely with Psychic Leap. There's a lot of capabilities, of course, with that additional 10 damage on top of the power tablets, which for every power tablet you've played, you're going to be able to slap 30 additional damage. So this deck, the only thing they want to do is go for the early game Alessa Sparkle, and then the following turns, the only supporter they want to see is Bulbasaur's, so you can actually target down the Pokemon that are causing a threat in your side. So for instance, if you're up against a Suicune Ludicolo, you can boss up a Lotad, and then the following turn you can knock out the Suicune. There's a lot of great things you can do with Bulbasaur's. In my opinion, I probably would be cutting one Bulbasaur's for a Pokegear because I found it to work very, very well. Not only is it an additional item card that you could get rid of with Cram-O-Matic, sometimes the Pokegear could find that Alessa Sparkle in the early phases of the game. With 4 Fog Crystal, 4 Quick Ball, and 3 Great Ball, on top of 4 Cram-O-Matics and 4 Battle via Pass, will of course get your entire setup by turn 1. This deck is super scared of stuff like Path to the Peak, but luckily you just save your Cram-O-Matics against matchups like that and your stadium cards until the Path to the Peak comes into play. You slap it down and it's going to be fantastic. Rotom Phone allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you can put one on top of the deck and shuffle the rest into your deck. So that's going to be very cool because sometimes you can find your Alessa Sparkle that way, sometimes you can find your Mew VMAX that way. It depends on what you are up against, but this is an additional card because as soon as you put something on top of the deck, Genesect with the Fusion Strike system can draw it out. We don't see Latias with the Dyna Barrier in here. It's a very cool card, definitely a consideration, but in this list it's just straightforward consistency with Meloettas, Alessa Sparkle, and a lot of search engines. So on top of that, there's only 3 switches in here. There's also a win con against this specific list. If you see that all of their 3 switches are in the discard pile and all of their fusion energies are in play, you can win by trapping a Genesect. So mark that into your notepad so you have additional wins to win against this specific list. This has been the best deck in the format. If we look at tournament results, it wins almost everything out there. And it's for good reason. It's very strong, it's very consistent, and slaps huge amount of damage. So let me know how you feel about Mew VMAX being the best deck in the format. Are you actually looking forward to, of course, tech out with the Darkness decks that, of course, we've made videos of this week? Are you testing out Galarian Moltres? Are you testing out, of course, stuff like the Morpeko deck? I really want to know your opinions down below, and I really am curious, what is your favorite deck in the current format? Let me know right now. For me personally, it's going to be the Rapid Strike Malamar deck. I just love one prizes in general, and I just hope the format slows down a little bit because this Mew deck is ridiculous. Either you play Mew or you, of course, you tech against Mew. There's the only way, because this deck is not going anywhere. It literally has all the answers. Yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. It only takes 1 second of your time and it helps out the channel tremendously. These are definitely the top 5 best decks in the format, and hopefully I explained why they are so good, and I explained all the cards that are in the list. If you want to see them in action, there's of course videos over on the playlist, of course, with the deck battle playlist. Yeah, I wish you all a very fantastic rest of your day. Thanks again for joining. If you're new, subscribe for more content, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. But before I leave, let's talk about our sponsors real quick. If you are looking for TCGO code cards, of course, there's only one place to be. It's PokeTownStore.com, the best website to get, of course, your codes. They have Fusion Strike codes, they have promo codes, everything you might want, they have it. And you can use the coupon code ZapdosTCG for 5% off. There's also Cardmarket.com, a European platform where you're able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. I personally use it every single day to, of course, get rid of cards that I don't need to buy newer ones. And I love blinging out my decks in real life, so that's the easiest way I do it. Just get rid of cards that I don't need to buy cards that I do want to play. Last but not least, you can check out yourplaymat.com. If you click the link down below right now, you're going to get 10% of your order. And for the people that don't know what Your Playmat is, it is a website where you can, of course, create your own unique custom playmat, upload your favorite wallpaper or your own unique design, and they turn it into a beautiful playmat. And they also ship worldwide, so when, of course, real life events come back, I want to see you with a personal custom playmat. Anyhow, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Pokemon TCG information, epicness, and gameplay. Peace!